On a quiet autumn evening in a small American suburb, the kind where neighbors greet each other by name and leave doors unlocked, tragedy struck. Mark, a 42-year-old accountant and devoted father, was found lifeless on his living room couch. The call came from his wife, Laura, a 39-year-old stay-at-home mom known for her charm and community involvement. At first glance, the scene seemed ordinary. A man had simply collapsed. But as first responders stepped inside, the atmosphere was eerily calm, too calm for sudden death. Welcome to the Serial Crime Chronicles. Before we go any further, hit that subscribe button now. Stay updated on shocking true crimes that rarely see the light of day. Stick with us till the end as we uncover another chilling mystery. Mark's body lay reclined on the couch, eyes partially closed, a faint smile on his face, almost peaceful. But there were inconsistencies. The coffee cup in front of him was untouched, yet a half-eaten snack sat neatly on the coffee table. The house was undisturbed, no signs of struggle or forced entry. Yet Laura's statements about Mark's final hours didn't add up. Something was off. Mark had no serious medical conditions. His history included only mild hypertension, easily managed with medication. Emergency responders attempted CPR, but it was too late. Paramedics confirmed he was dead at the scene. The question that would haunt the investigators for weeks was simple but terrifying. How could a healthy man die suddenly in his own home under seemingly normal circumstances? Neighbors described the couple as a perfect suburban family. Mark was reliable, diligent, and well-liked at work. Laura was warm, active in local charity events, and deeply involved in her children's lives. But as detectives would soon discover, appearances can be deceiving, and behind closed doors, secrets often fester in silence. Forensics became the first puzzle piece. The autopsy revealed an unexpected finding: traces of a potent sedative in Mark's bloodstream, substances not naturally present in his system. The official cause of death was ruled as poisoning, not cardiac arrest. Investigators began to consider a chilling alternative. This might not have been a tragic accident at all. The detectives retraced the couple's final 48 hours. Laura claimed Mark had felt dizzy early in the day, but friends said he hadn't mentioned any illness. Laura also insisted he had been drinking, which was contrary to his usual habits. The inconsistencies piled up. Adding to the suspicion, police discovered a recent life insurance policy taken out by Laura, worth several $100,000. This revelation transformed the case. Was this a grieving widow facing the unimaginable, or a woman carefully orchestrating the death of her husband for financial gain? Investigators had their first leads. Interviews with friends, colleagues, and neighbors painted a picture of a marriage under stress. Mark had recently discovered Laura's mounting credit card debt, largely due to her expensive lifestyle. Shopping sprees, spa visits, and secret purchases had gone unnoticed until recently. Conversations with Mark's co-workers suggested he had been frustrated and stressed about finances, and there were occasional arguments at home. Forensics analyzed the sedative found in Mark's system. The substance wasn't something he had been prescribed, and there was no record of him accessing it legally. Detectives also found emails and messages on Laura's devices with alarming content. Searches such as how to sedate someone safely and ways to ensure someone doesn't wake up. Digital footprints painted a disturbing possibility. Then came the discovery of an extramarital relationship. Laura had been in frequent contact with a man named Chris, a gym instructor she met months before Mark's death. Text messages hinted at emotional involvement. "Soon, we'll finally be free of the past," one message read. Detectives considered motive. Was this an act of passion as much as financial gain? To keep up with this series and even more interesting true crime stories that never came to light until now, hit the red subscribe button. Now back to the story. At the same time, Forensic accountants examined bank records and found large, unexplained withdrawals from Laura's accounts. Investigators also scrutinized her social media activity. She had been posting upbeat, almost carefree messages mere days after Mark's death. To some, this was callous. To others, it was simply how people process grief differently. Neighbors were interviewed again, this time about behavior in the days following the tragedy. Several recalled seeing Laura outside, chatting, smiling, or going about errands as though nothing had happened. Her calm composure unnerved investigators. One neighbor said, it was like she was already planning her next chapter. Despite the growing list of circumstantial evidence, detectives were careful. They knew motive alone couldn't prove murder. There were no eyewitnesses. There were no fingerprints on the sedative, no direct video evidence. They relied on piecing together digital footprints, witness statements, and forensic science. One breakthrough came from the toxicology lab. Advanced analysis suggested that the sedative had been administered in a way that mimicked a natural collapse, making it almost impossible to detect without careful testing. This implied planning, intent to disguise a murder as an accidental death. The investigation grew into a high-profile case. The local media dubbed it Death on the Couch, fueling speculation, public fascination, and suspicion. Talk shows and podcasts picked up the story, with experts debating the line between tragedy and premeditation. After months of meticulous investigation, Laura was charged with second-degree murder. The courtroom was packed, with journalists, friends, and family filling every seat. Prosecutors laid out a compelling narrative. Laura had the motive, means, and opportunity. They presented the sedative evidence, digital searches, life insurance policy, and extramarital affair, painting her as calculated and manipulative. Expert witnesses testified. Toxicologists explained how the drug could have been administered to mimic natural causes. Psychologists offered insights into behavioral patterns of guilt versus grief. Financial analysts detail the insurance and debt motives. Each piece of evidence built a portrait of a woman who had allegedly carefully planned her husband's death. The defense countered with a different story. They emphasized the lack of direct evidence. Laura had no fingerprints on the sedative. There were no surveillance cameras capturing her administering it. They argued the case relied too heavily on circumstantial evidence and assumptions about her behavior after Mark's death. They pointed to Mark's own stress, his occasional use of sleeping aids, and the possibility of an accidental overdose. Emotional testimony came from Mark's family. His mother, visibly shaken, described him as devoted and loving, incapable of wrongdoing. Laura's own friends testified to her history of caring for her family and her outward grief, suggesting that the public perception of composure doesn't equate to guilt. After weeks of testimony, closing arguments left the jury with a harrowing question. Could outward composure, financial motive, and suspicious digital activity prove murder beyond a reasonable doubt? Or did the evidence merely suggest an unfortunate tragedy, misinterpreted by investigators and media frenzy? When the verdict finally came, the courtroom fell silent. Laura was convicted of voluntary manslaughter, a compromise between accidental death and premeditated murder. Justice, according to the jury, lay somewhere in the middle. To some, the verdict was a relief. To others, it was far too lenient or too harsh. In the years since, debate continues. True crime enthusiasts still dissect the case, discussing the subtle clues, digital evidence, and courtroom strategies. Was Mark's death the result of a cold, calculated plan? Or was it a tragic accident clouded by suspicion and circumstantial evidence? The case of Death on the Couch remains a haunting reminder. The line between accident and intent is often blurred. Appearances can be deceiving, and the truth, sometimes, lies hidden behind the quiet suburban facade of everyday life. If this story sent chills down your spine, don't walk away. Subscribe now and hit the bell. Join us as we uncover the hidden truths behind shocking crimes like this one, and see for yourself how appearances can be deadly deceiving. Stay with us till the end. You won't want to miss what comes next.